Here's something strange about the smile. You've seen it, the Mona Lisa, but what if I told you there might be letters hidden in her eyes? Possibly a secret code left by Leonardo da Vinci himself. A message from a genius who never trusted the church, who dissected corpses in secret, and who wrote his journals in mirrored handwriting. Welcome to the Renaissance, the golden age of art, science, and discovery, but also deception, secrecy, and power games that changed the world. Because behind every masterpiece, behind every sculpture and fresco, there's more than just beauty. There are secrets, hidden messages, symbols that whisper forbidden ideas. This wasn't just a cultural rebirth, it was a rebellion dressed in paint and marble. Why were some of the greatest minds in history obsessed with anatomy, astronomy, and pagan myths, all while pretending to serve the church? Why did Michelangelo hide a human brain inside the Sistine Chapel? Why did artists cloak ancient gods in Christian robes? And why did the most revolutionary thinkers risk torture, or worse, to pursue knowledge? To understand all this, we need to go back, not just to Florence or Rome, but to the ashes of a crumbling medieval world, a world that feared change, a world about to be turned upside down. The Renaissance didn't just happen, it exploded out of crisis. For centuries, Europe had been wrapped in darkness, plague, war, religious control that froze minds. Art was flat, science was shackled. Questioning the Bible could get you killed. Then something shifted. Trade routes opened. Ancient Greek texts, preserved by Islamic scholars, found their way back to Europe. And suddenly, curiosity was no longer a sin, it was power. In Florence, a banker named Cosimo de' Medici used his fortune to fund artists, architects, and philosophers. Not because he loved art, but because he loved influence. The Medicis didn't just sponsor beauty, they controlled it. And through it, they shaped a new way of seeing the world. But it wasn't just about frescoes and domes. This was deeper. Painters began sneaking pagan gods into biblical scenes. Architects resurrected Roman ideals. Scientists dissected bodies in candlelit rooms to understand the soul through muscle and bone. And some artists, like Botticelli, painted nude goddesses for popes with a straight face. They weren't just making art. They were smuggling ideas. And those ideas were dangerous. Leonardo da Vinci wasn't just painting portraits. He was building machines of war, studying the flow of water, sketching human anatomy, in a time when cutting open a corpse could land you in prison or on a pyre, yet he did it anyway. Michelangelo, too, wasn't just an artist. He was a man of intense intellect and deep conflict. When he painted the Sistine Chapel ceiling, he wasn't simply illustrating scenes from Genesis. In one panel, the creation of Adam, God reaches out to touch Adam's hand. Behind God is a swirling red cloak. Neurosurgeons have since realized it's shaped exactly like a human brain, an anatomically accurate one. Was it a coincidence? Or was Michelangelo hiding a message? And why did he carve pagan themes into Christian sculptures? Why did he leave cryptic poetry about his love for other men? When such things could have destroyed him, these artists weren't rebels in the modern sense. It wasn't just a revival of ancient myth. It was a challenge to the church's authority at a time when such things were still forbidden. Some believe Botticelli was later drawn into a religious cult, led by the fanatical monk Savonarola. Savonarola preached that Florence was a new Jerusalem, that art and vanity were sins. In 1497, the city held the Bonfire of the Vanities. People burned paintings, books, cosmetics. It's said Botticelli threw his own work into the flames, from beauty to ashes and back again. The Renaissance was full of such contradictions. a time of explosive creativity, but also of censorship, of new ideas, and constant fear. The thinkers of the Renaissance were cracking open the universe, one idea at a time. Take Nicolaus Copernicus. He didn't set out to spark a revolution. He was a mathematician, a cleric, someone the church trusted. But as he studied the stars, he found something deeply unsettling. Earth wasn't the center of the universe. The sun was. A small shift in theory. A seismic shift in human identity. Suddenly, we weren't the center of God's creation. We were just orbiting. The Renaissance was full of such contradictions, a time of explosive creativity, but also of censorship, of new ideas, and constant fear. The Renaissance brought light, but it also cast long shadows. It gave us Da Vinci's notebooks and colonial empires. It gave us humanism and heresy trials. It gave us art so luminous, it still stops hearts, and secrets buried so deep, we're only just uncovering them. Still, its legacy is undeniable. The Renaissance shattered the medieval world and built a bridge to the modern one. It taught us to question, to observe, to create, not just for God, but for ourselves. So, what was the Renaissance really? A rebirth? Yes, but not a peaceful one, not a clean break from the past. It was messy, daring, often dangerous. It was born out of crisis, fed by ambition, and driven by people who were willing to risk everything for ideas. It transformed Europe, not through a single invention or moment, but through 1,000 tiny acts of defiance, a hidden symbol in a painting, a theory scribbled in the margins, a question whispered behind closed doors. Even now, centuries later, we're still deciphering the messages Renaissance thinkers left behind, still marveling at their genius, still unsettled by their contradictions. So next time you stand before a Renaissance painting, whether it's Botticelli's Goddesses or Da Vinci's mysterious smile, ask yourself, what am I not seeing? What truths did they bury beneath the surface? And what might they still be trying to tell us? Because the Renaissance never truly ended. Its spirit lives on in every act of creation, in every question we dare to ask, and in every system we challenge, through knowledge, not fear. If you found this journey through history thought-provoking, subscribe for more hidden chapters and overlooked truths. And tell us in the comments, what secrets do you see in these masterpieces?